So when a song is played in public, a royalty is owed to composers.
How does the label of that particular artist benefit? How does the artist benefit? And why do some songs say copyright infringement, what in certain countries?
The likes of TikTok have licenses with labels, labels. Yeah.
With labels.
Different labels to make sure that the music that they carry is licensed. There's restrictions with the music. You can't use the music to promote a brand or for business purposes.
Hold on. Welcome to the MAGC Wellness podcast, your journey to a happier, healthier you. So today we'll be talking about something very interesting. We'll be talking about understanding the legal fine print. So Wellness Champ, do you know anything about this topic?
Yeah, they actually talk about this like a lot, but then I never got to actually sit down with someone to actually like understand the legal things. So yeah, I just know like a lot of people got into trouble. So yeah, I'm just hoping today we'll learn more about it. And yeah, we have our expert that you're about to introduce. So looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. So my name is Kaukalo Potwane and I am your host. And today I'm seated with Bongani Mdakane. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no. Listen, so today we have a legal expert. So Bongani is an admitted attorney with over 12 years experience. He's worked with Samro as a legal advisor, and he's worked with Ambitious Records. I know. We all know about it as a legal manager. And now he started his own law firm, and yeah, he's gonna be telling us about intellectual property, about entertainment law and commercial law, which is what he specializes in. So Bongani, please just tell us a little bit more about yourself before we dive into our topic.
You stole all my thunder, but I basically I call myself a music lover first and foremost. So since being a music lover, I've always wanted a way to merge my love for music, or sort of have a contribution of sorts in the industry. And I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't do any of those things, but I'm a damn good lawyer.
Oh, so okay.
I took those elements and it informed the current practice I'm in, the current area of law.
Yes. Okay, so I actually wanted to ask about intellectual property. I think it's a word that a lot of us have bumped into. We've heard about, when someone goes, this is my intellectual property, you can't use it, you can't take it. What does that actually mean?
Yeah. So as the word suggests, it means it's the assets of the mind that have commercial value. There's three, it's a broad term, umbrella term, and there's three main areas of intellectual property. There's trademarks. Trademarks protects names, right?
Okay.
Yeah, if you have a name that you're using in the course of practice and it's a name that you differentiate yourself between other proprietors, you get a trademark. And then there's copyright law. Copyright law protects, creative works. It's anything from books, music, computer programs, and we also have patents. That is an area of intellectual property that protects inventions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those are the three main ones.
I actually want to ask you something about something that happened that a lot of us were like, I know a lot of people are part of the Beehive, but I know when Beyonce had her first daughter, Blue Ivy, she put a trademark on that.
Yes.
What? Yeah, she did. She put a trademark on Blue Ivy, as in no one else can use the name Blue Ivy. Is that what that means? What trademarking means?
Yeah. So it's the same thing with we have an example here at home with Ukaspa. Ukaspa was, I don't think he ended up going through with the process, but he was trying to trademark Fill Up. You remember?
Oh, yes, in different provinces.
Exactly. And people are upset saying, how fill up must I want to fill up my tea and what
exactly
is stopping me from using that word. But that's not what trademarks That's not how they
Okay,
operate.
okay.
I'm just stopping you from using the name in the course of trade. So what that means in practice, I don't want you as a promoter to name your show fill up, but obviously in normal language you can say, Ish, I need people to fill up that show. There's
I
no
actually want
problem.
to ask a question regarding that because I want us to get the terminology out of the way, just so when we get into the crux of things, we actually know what we're talking about. So if I want to open something very different, that's not part of the music industry at all, like a burger joint, and I call it fill up ketchup. It's a trade thing because I'm selling things,
Yes.
but it's in a totally different industry.
great
In a
question.
small town in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a great question. Problem is that now you are essentially stopping the guy who's still using it in respect of the entertainment business.
Okay.
You're stopping him from, if ever he wanted to venture into that, rather better way
Into a burger joint.
which he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brands, Rihanna selling makeup.
Listen,
Obama Busani.
listen, and hey.
Obama Busani.
Exactly. But more than that, people might think there's an association. That's
There we go.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So with copywriting, you said it is the same thing, but for actual work. Hey, so you said you made an example with the book,
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
So say in something that's not part of entertainment, what can I copyright? Can I copyright a script,
Yes.
a journal?
Yes.
What else? What else can you
And it's
copyright?
very important to note that copyright doesn't protect ideas. There's a misconception about
Doesn't
that.
protect ideas.
It protects your representation of that idea. So the fact that you wrote, it's fine. I'll explain.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, please just go. Because if it's a song, that's an idea. So if
It's
I'm
not an idea.
protecting, a
It's,
song is an idea. Like my song talking about Barbie is an idea.
if you are saying it's an idea, it means that I can never make another song about Barbie. That's the idea.
But you can't make my song about Barbie.
That's why
What
I'm
about
saying,
my feelings?
that's why I'm saying it
Okay.
protects the material embodiment of the
Oh,
idea.
I
So
see.
if you say I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, and I say that in my song, of course now I have infringed on your copyright.
But word for word, what if you said you are Ken in a Barbie world?
It will probably not be an infringement. You see,
But it's still the same concept because it's still about Barbie.
That's why it doesn't protect concepts.
Sure.
We're not protecting concepts. We're protecting how the concepts are expressed.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can have a cooking show. I can have a cooking show.
And
You
we
can't
could both
stop
be
me.
cooking mince.
Exactly. But there's a certain way in which you introduce your program, or there's certain things that are very unique and how you've arranged your show, and then I take it. They could be, I could potentially be infringing on your show. So that's how you should look at it.
Sure. I wanted to ask, can you copyright something that was in existence before you jumped onto it?
Yes. So copyright doesn't whatever
It doesn't
you
mean it's yours.
It's
it
not-
means
yeah.
you are just using it and
Exactly.
you want it to remain yours.
Yeah. So the language that they use is that as long as you use your own skill and labor
Yeah.
into making that product, it doesn't have to be new.
Sure.
Yeah, just make sure that you're using your own skill and labor into making your subsequent. It can be inspired by other things as well. The whole thing is to keep the industry going. With copyright is not meant to stifle ideas and the industry. People
Okay.
can be inspired by each other.
So I know a lot of people are thinking, why is a wellness program talking about law and copyrights and trademarks? It's important because people sign on the dotted line without actually understanding what they're signing. And obviously this in turn will affect your mental health because you might get sued, you might lose money, and that will obviously have an impact on your mental health. So what I wanted to ask is, because you work in entertainment, in entertainment law, a lot of people when they get seen or discovered, they get very excited. And no one actually breaks down the law behind whatever it is that they're signing. We've seen a lot on social media. The artists that we've come to love really being on the other side of not understanding their contractual agreements. So can you just let us know why that happens before we go into the nitty-gritties of it?
Yeah, there are many reasons why people sign things that they don't understand. Sometimes it's just the opportunity, people are presented with certain opportunities, and they probably sometimes don't. Well, they feel that the bargaining power is not the same. You've got all these resources and I don't. And now I'm about to enter into a relationship with you. So a lot of the times it's a take it or leave
Yeah.
it. Well, at least that's what they think, and they end up signing these things. Sometimes it's just pure ignorance.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a financial issue.
Excitement.
Excitement.
Yeah.
There are various
Yeah,
issues
yeah.
at play. Yeah.
I actually was thinking of a situation I can't really name, but I couldn't understand, and it's happened more than once actually, and the people fall into depression, and they fall into financial ruin, where the artist is the one that comes up with the song. They come up with the song, they come up with the composition and whatnot, but because they signed to a record label, everything belongs to the record label. So I want you to explain intellectual property in that regard.
Yeah.
Because if I came up with it, surely it's my intellectual property.
All
Or
right.
does it belong to the company because I'm signed to them?
Not necessarily. So there are two copyrights in a song, right? I always say you have to start by knowing that before attempting to understand anything in the
Sure.
music business. The two copyrights are the copyright in the sound recording, which is also known as the master, the master, as we
Yeah,
always
we've
hear
heard that
about.
word.
Yeah, I've
Can
heard
we
that a
pause
lot.
right here and
Yeah,
what is a music master?
Yeah.
Because I thought it's someone that's really good at music. So
Yeah. So it's basically that initial file.
Okay.
It's that initial sound recording in which everything else is
Yeah.
recorded onto, right?
okay.
And then the composition is that's the other copyright, by the way.
What is the composition?
I'm
Okay,
about to explain that. Yeah, the composition is basically the copyright in the composition is basically the lyrics, melody, and structure of the song, right? But you're recording that onto something. So if you have the lyrics and melody of the song and you've
Okay.
written it down somewhere, as soon as you record it somewhere, that recording that carries the lyrics and the melody and whatnot, that's the sound recording, right? So basically, the label wants to own, or whoever funds this thing or paid for it in money will want to own the sound recording. But as the songwriter, you will own the copyright in the composition. So there are
Okay.
different. What makes music sometimes the business so complicated is that there are different rights holders in one piece of work, right? Yeah. So if I were to simplify it so that you understand, if I record something into a USB,
Okay.
right now, the right to make subsequent USB so that I can sell it of that recording lies with the label. They want to sell,
Yeah.
that recording, right? But you will also own the words and whatnot. And how that works is that how does someone, you could ask, how does someone who owns the copyright in the recording, how do they make money?
Yes.
Right? And the first thing is with the song being played. It's one of the biggest revenue forms for composers when a song is played on radio or publicly performed.
Does composer mean the person that put it together? Is that what composer
It
means?
means the person who wrote it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but songwriting is not just about lyrics. It's about I don't know if you know what a melody is. How, I don't know how to
Staccato?
explain.
Yeah, and when you're writing all these songs, you're putting your emotions. I mean, the effort, the
Yes.
emotions. So
But
my
melody is like
emotions are-
Sorry.
is melody not the, that? I'm
Exact-
not sure how to explain that. Yeah.
So
that-
if I say I'm a Barbie girl and I say da 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 da, that's the melody.
the second part.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no, it
that's
makes
the-
sense. Yeah.
So the person who does
The
that
tune.
is considered the songwriter as well. Songwriting is not just about lyrics.
Da 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 da.
Yes.
Is a songwriter.
Think about it. When you hear a song, it's about how it sounds,
The
not
beat.
necessarily the lyrics.
Isn't that how they teach them the music? Da da da.
I imagine I'm not a music theory person.
I'm
Yeah.
just putting it out there. Just
Yeah.
say like that's how they teach them.
Yeah.
The da-da-da-da,
I always
to create
say
the melody.
songwriters will always tell you that melody is king. It's even better than lyrics because we can all write words, but
Words.
can we put it in a catchy way that people like it? And that's why people like, I'll mention him. He's my fave. Michael Jackson was able to sell music to people who don't even understand what he's saying because it's just the melody that they're liking.
That is true. That is true. And I mean, we like music from different cultures. We have no idea what that person is saying.
Exactly.
But because of the beat and the vibe, we tend to love it.
Yeah, but just to answer your question as to how does the composer earn if the label wants to own the master, is by owning the composition, as I told you. So when a song is played in public, a royalty is owed to composers. So USAMRO in South Africa, we have SAMRO, but there's different organizations in different parts of the world. They will license radio stations to collect on behalf of composers, right? So that when your song is played, SABC, for instance, will then report to SAMRO and tell SAMRO that we played Khaugelo's song 10 times this quarter.
Okay.
And then SAMRO has a rate in which they calculate usage. And then they'll turn that money into royalties for you to be paid.
So
Then how
our-
much? Sorry to disturb.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And how much does then Sambro get from that? Like in terms of percentage?
They have a I'm not sure what the percentage is, but they do take a percentage for operational, to be able to run the operation. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about social media
Yeah.
and copyrights that are connected to that. Number one, I wanted to ask about songs that become popular, like on TikTok. People lip sync all the time on TikTok, right? So when a song is played and it becomes very popular and it starts trending on TikTok, how does the label of that particular artist benefit? How does the artist benefit? And why do some songs say copyright infringement, what in certain countries?
Yeah. So basically what will happen is that the likes of TikTok.
The
Yeah.
TikTok, it happened on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The likes of TikTok have licenses with labels, with
Sure.
labels. Yeah.
With labels.
Different labels to make sure that the music that they carry is licensed. So you can use the music. The reason why you can use the music is because TikTok and them have a license.
They bought it, basically.
They what? Sorry?
Bought it.
They are licensing it, not buying it. So they
Okay.
are borrowing it
They borrow.
for a
Okay,
fee.
okay.
They're paying a subscription.
That's
There we
exactly.
I was
go.
wondering
Yeah.
why my videos on TikTok, some of them now they
They kill the sound.
killed the sound. I
Yeah.
was wondering
I'll
now,
explain why.
This video looks so boring without the sound. What happened?
Universal was having an issue with TikTok, the
Yeah.
licensing issue.
Okay.
Yeah, the negotiations went south, and Universal said, "Okay, we're going to take our music," and that's why the music, the videos were muted because Universal
Makes
took back its
sense.
music. But I think they've started agreeing now. Everything is in order, and it affected a lot of piano artists, by the way, because Universal owns Electromode, which is a big distributor. Yeah, and a lot of piano guys are signed there. There was I think they call themselves Virgin Music now, Electromode, and it affected.
I can
them.
imagine.
Yeah, but now I think everything is all good now. Yeah,
So all the sounds
parties-
are going to come back.
They've kissed and made up. I think the sounds are back now.
They're not all back.
Really?
I made a video. Yeah.
Oh,
I made
really?
something
Jump as a video
2
that
days
puts
ago.
in.
Yeah.
I made something and then the audio was removed for some reason. There was a disclaimer.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Did
but
you
then,
make it under your personal profile or your business profile?
personal profile? Obviously. Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you why I'm asking that.
Yeah.
There's restrictions with the music. You can't use the music to promote a brand or for business purposes.
Hold on. Now that we're going to have now a bigger thing that I want to talk about. So obviously now social media is a lucrative business.
Yes.
A lot of people are making money off social media, and there's people that have rose to fame or popularity rather because they've lip sync
Yeah.
to particular songs
Yep.
and whatnot. And obviously if a brand asks you to promote their thing, you have a song playing in the background and you're getting WAP.
Yes.
Is that not business?
It's business, but now that brand has to. It's fine if you're lip syncing to the song.
But am I not a brand as an influencer?
You are a brand as an influencer, but which it's actually a good thing to consider, because with normal brands, they're supposed to ask for permission, you know.
Like
And
Nivea must ask Casper for permission to use a song.
exactly.
In my video that they
Yes.
just got.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
It's a lot.
And with lip sync, ne?
Yeah.
There's also, I don't know, we're talking about music, right? And then in terms of videos, I know they now what's currently trending. It's Sylvester Mufokeng, this ex-convict who was on this other podcast.
Okay.
He was interviewed.
Yeah.
And everyone is using his sound. You know, he was telling a story on how an incident happened.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Wang Tubulala. It
Yeah.
was like the story that you was talking there, like
Yeah.
it was like really interesting. So now everyone is making that video.
Yeah.
And then they're like using the
His
voiceover,
sound.
the lip
But there's
sync.
no
Yeah,
copyright
yeah.
for that, right?
Look, I think platforms allow for that. I think TikTok is actually made for
It
that.
is made for that, for lip syncing.
So as long
yeah.
as you're using the music within the terms of the platform, you're fine. We had a good example of this the time when Jerusalem came out and we were all dancing.
Yeah.
There was a part that Master KG and his publisher at the time came out and said, okay, guys, wait a minute. We're happy with you guys dancing to the song in your bedrooms and whatnot, but we're starting to see airlines, and instead of it just being a staff dancing, we're starting to see your logos being presented prominently using our song. We don't mind, but please pay us. You know, come speak to us, and
Yeah.
it's what we call a synchronization deal. It's very lucrative. It's one of the most lucrative ways to license music. When you
Okay.
see a song being played on TV, just know that that brand paid a lot of money to do that. I'm talking anything from, well, it depends the type of usage, but it can go from anything to 300,000 to 700,000,
For a
depending
song?
on how long. Yes.
That's a,
A
Polo
30-second
TSI.
part.
Sorry.
A 30-second part of a song.
Yes. Yes.
That's a Polo TSI.
No, we're in the wrong
BW.
business.
Yes. And to clear that song, you're gonna have to clear the 2 copyrights that I spoke about. You're gonna have to speak to whoever owns the master, which happens to be the label at times. But these days, a lot of independent artists own their own thing, so it can be the artists themselves. You're gonna have to speak to the people who own the composition, the songwriters. And a lot of the times in popular music, it tends to be more than one person. And they all have to clear it, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just one person. And then the song can go.
So, I have so many questions about this. I wanted to ask, given you used the word actually that I want you to just clarify what it means. You used a music publisher.
Okay, yes.
Can you just let us know what that is?
Okay, perfect. Great question. So what a publisher does, they commercialize your compositions, right?
Okay.
So what that means is that, okay, you're a songwriter, right? Let's create opportunities for your songs. So what does that mean? Even synchronization licensing, they can go to brands and say, hey, Gaugelo has a nice song that can go with, I see, I have a song called Return of the Mac, and you're selling a burger called Big Mac. It can work, right? Publishers do that. They can get into those type of rooms.
But you're marketing people.
They market your compositions.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's not
okay.
marketing in the traditional sense,
Yeah.
but they market your compositions. They can even create songwriting opportunities for you. If I can convince Adele to record a song that's written by you, I've created remember, if Adele records a song right now, radio's gonna play the hell out of it.
Of course.
Yeah. So now, what did I tell you about owning a copyright to a composition? I earn from each time that song is worked.
Yes. I'm going to earn from that.
Exactly.
Obviously, yeah.
So they can get you in certain rooms that you can't on your own. But most importantly, they also help you collect the royalties.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. They can go to your SAMRO and prove that your song was played in such and such a manner. And they can go to different territories and collect for you in those territories and so forth. Basically, they can do your administration
Okay.
and creatively they can market your work.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
okay,
what a
we're learning a
publisher
lot
does.
today.
Yeah. It's almost like a label, but for your song written.
So they're a
works.
company on their own. Ooh.
Sometimes though, labels tend to have publishing wings.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah. So
Probably cheaper.
it's cheaper for them, but I always prefer for artists to have, if someone is your label, get a different publisher.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna get a publisher. And some distributors now, I don't know if you know what a distributor is. This is
Someone
where
that
the industry
distributes
is.
your music?
But what does that mean?
Someone that sends it out.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be someone who goes to Musica and Reliable and gives them your CDs to sell.
Like on that movie, the Beyonce, Jennifer Hudson, the people actually went with the
Yes.
yes, that is
That's a
distribution. Hey,
distributor.
there we go.
But now with the with the streaming market that we are in, a distributor is a company that then puts your music on the different streaming platforms like your Spotify, Apple Music,
Okay.
Deezer, and so forth. That's what a distributor
Okay,
does.
okay.
And they'll take anything from 20 to 30% of the earnings and then pay you the rest
For
because of the work that they're doing.
sending my music.
They're
Being
not
a
only
courier.
they're not only sending it there, and remember, Spotify is not going to speak to you directly. They need a distributor. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, they need there to be that middleman, and they're going to collect the royalties from the different stores and then pay it to you. So they want a cut from that, which I think is fair.
What about the up and coming
Mm-hmm.
new artists that are independent and that have songs or podcasts or anything on all these streaming platforms?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have a middleman.
The middleman is the distributor. A lot of
Okay.
independent artists just have a distributor, not a label.
So can they be their own distributor?
As I said, Spotify doesn't want to speak to you directly. They
So I
need,
can't put my stuff on Spotify.
no, you need to go through a distributor.
Hi, guys. I don't know if anyone else did that.
But nice thing about a distributor, they don't want to own your copyright.
Okay.
They don't want to own it.
They just want a portion.
They just
Yeah,
want a
they're
portion of
middleman.
the, which I said is the 20 to 30%. But what I've just said gets people into trouble because they're like, these people don't want my copyright, so I don't need to get a lawyer to review my distribution
Yes,
agreement,
yeah.
which is a problem. I'll tell you why. Distributors are, a lot of them now have label services. So they might say, hey, that's a nice song. We don't want to get into a long-term agreement with you, but we want to promote this song for you.
Okay.
We want to give you the budget and everything. And the money that we spend is recoupable, right? Sharp. Recoupable means that you don't earn until they make that money back. But on top of that, on top of that, let's say you've got a 3-year deal with that distributor.
There's
you're
terms for distributors.
yes, they're a company.
Like a record label.
That's why I'm saying that
Bible.
distributors, as much as their terms tend to be more friendlier than your traditional label setup,
Okay.
there's still terms that you should get a lawyer to look at. Let's say, for example, you had a 2-year term with them. You're with a distributor for 2 years, right? If your advance hasn't been paid up, right? If they haven't recouped from your advance, there tends to be a rollover of that term. So now you can't get out of the deal until they have recouped. Kanako, you took, I have a client right now who took a big advance and would like to leave the deal, but
they can't.
They cannot, unfortunately, because those guys have only recouped half of the money at this point.
Sure.
So
Can I
those
get
are
a
the
loan
type
and
of
pay them
things.
back?
You can.
Will they?
Yeah, I'm
you
sure.
know,
That's if they allow you.
I was going to say that we've seen again on social media because our artists and upcoming artists, actually, I think it's important for them to know so they can protect themselves and protect their well-being, right? So I want us to actually get into what a record deal is, okay? Because we've seen people being bullied to stay in the record deal. Maybe bullied might be the wrong word. I don't know. I might be using it loosely.
Yeah.
But bullied into staying because they come online and they're like, oh, no, I can't leave. Oh, my money, what, right? Or they're making money, but they're not getting paid, or anything of that sort,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we need to understand what a record deal is, okay? And why record labels can basically bully people into staying or not even making music with other people. There's, even in Hollywood, there's just talks about...
You're definitely going to get some resistance from me with that
Okay.
bully word.
Because I'm like,
And
I
know you
might
are
be using it loosely.
You are
May,
cautious with it
may,
as
may.
well, but I'll
Yeah.
tell you why, right? What often happens, my experience, what I've seen, and this doesn't mean that there aren't people who do take advantage. There are obviously companies that do take advantage. But from what I'm starting to see is that there'll be an investor, right, in the form of a label. I think I'm
Okay.
going to start addressing your question on what a label does. A label will, take a chance on you and take your music and market it, right?
Okay.
And for them to do that, you would need to be signed to them so that, and, they'll pay for your recording. And, as I said, getting someone in studio and getting the right personnel to attend to that recording, that's money. That's money. Anything from, an album can cost you anything up to 200 to, upwards, just to get the right personnel to work on
But
a
is it
project.
not an investment? I think you used the right word.
It is
You are
an
taking
investment.
a chance.
Yes, it is an investment.
Yes.
Sure. No, I agree.
200K.
It can, no, it can get, no, K.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are some projects that can get there, depending on what you are doing on the project, right?
Okay.
There are people who get there. So what I find that happens, once an artist has reached the pinnacle, all of a sudden they don't want to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
The artist doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
With who?
With the label. Yeah. We had a deal that I'm going to put you out there and we share the proceeds, right? I spent my money to record you. I spent my money to shoot music videos for you and all those things, or give you advances so that you can buy equipment and whatnot and whatever.
It's more like Maporisa saying he's paying for electricity, the studio, they're eating everything.
I'm
like
not
that. It's
touching-
more like
I'm
that,
not
right?
touching that.
My question now becomes though, I just maybe I'm just coming from an outsider's point of view. Who gets paid first? Don't they get paid first and then they give me my cut? Because now it's almost like if I'm being how am I being selfish with money that I don't have? You have my money.
All right. So it doesn't mean you do get paid your portion.
By you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be the one that collects the money pertaining to, well, the money flowing from the master.
Okay.
I'll be the one that collects it, and I'll pay you your portion. Right.
What is my portion usually? Like for artists in
It
general?
will depend on the deal. The deals tend to be back in the day, before artists could put themselves out there. The deals would be, you would get anything from, it's gonna shock you, from about 16 to 20%.
16.
Who gets 16%?
The artist.
I'm confused. 16 to 20% of what? Of the work that I
Of the revenue flowing from the master. So
Yo.
yeah, but remember, you would still get your show money. So the label would say that no, we're the reason these people are booking you right now. You are getting booked. You're earning from the bookings. We only earn from the sound recording or the master because we invested in it. But anything else, your endorsement deals, if Nike wants to come here and get you to market their product, we're not going to participate in that. Obviously there are deals now, especially with the decline of revenue from record sales. There are deals where the label actually participates now in those things as well. They call it a 360 deal.
Hi, Bob.
You see, these things are not necessarily bad. They can work for you or they can't. You must think about it. Drake and Taylor Swift have reached the pinnacle.
Okay.
Why are they not independent?
Yeah.
Why are they not independent?
yeah.
Are they allowed to be?
They can, because Taylor Swift re-signed and Drake recently re-signed.
Okay.
There's an advantage to working with an entity with the resources to put you out there so that when you can focus on your music. And when I say this, I don't mean that there aren't provisions in traditional
Okay.
recording deals that would need to be revisited. Of course there are, and that's why people like us exist, entertainment attorneys. There are, but I'm not going to sit here and say that labels in and of themselves are these boogeymen out there to exploit artists. Labels have changed many lives.
18 to 20% for me sounds like the boogeyman. Because so what I want to ask is, okay, it does. It sounds ridiculous. It really does. So if we are looking at the things that we were speaking about earlier, like a bank is using my sound, or a movie is using my sound, are those not from the music master thing that we were talking about?
It's those two copyrights I was
So I
telling you
get
about.
20% from that even.
So I'll explain. It's the two copyrights we were speaking
Yeah.
about. If the label is not participating, which it shouldn't unless it has a publishing wing in your publishing, you'll earn from what you just spoke about, a brand using your music from the publishing perspective.
Okay.
You'll take that with the full hand if you wrote the song. The label as the master owner will be paid on the other side. Remember, you clear two sides.
What is the other side?
The other side is the master.
Why are they the master holder if it's my song?
Because they financed it. They own the recording. They financed
Sure.
the recording.
But then I think it takes us back to what we spoke about earlier, the excitement. And then it also takes us back to this thing of, I think I get where this goes wrong. It's us having to be excited and then being so excited that you just go straight to signing before reading or having to consult with an attorney and stuff. And then you get surprised over time. Is it maybe not that the reason?
It is. It is. Some people. I've definitely been in instances where I've seen people just sign without reading, without taking the time to understand. They're just happy to be
Discovered.
discovered.
I mean, I'm from Ekasi, from
Right.
zero, from having 20 rand a day to having like 20K
Yeah.
a day. Like, I mean, that's like a lot
Yeah.
of money.
It's money not being dangled as well to go. You could potentially make, even if it's not on contract, just
Yeah.
verbal.
But the deals, I must say though, the deals are starting to look much better now. As I said, artists have the means. Remember, a label back in the day would be the one that puts you out there. Now I can put myself out there using
Social media.
my phone. You know, can get over 1 million people. That was unheard of. You know, I had to use my connections first to get you to be on a show where people can see you on national TV.
100%.
You know, now I'm able to create my own buzz, and with me being able to create my own buzz, the negotiation looks different. You know, because I'm coming there with my own clout, and it changes the negotiation a bit. Now we're starting to see licensing deals as opposed to outright ownership. The label will say, hey, can we hold on to this master just for about 4 years and we share
Okay.
the money? Yeah, you take 50%, I take 50%, and
That's
then
fair.
we can part ways. Yeah, obviously if I give you an advance, you would have to pay back. It's recoupable with sales, and it might affect the term. So even licensing deals,
longer.
yeah, but at least it's starting to be, because the industry in and of itself has changed. Yeah, we don't see the traditional deals as much anymore.
What about our amazing artists that start being really great abroad and move there and get signed by bigger and more international record labels, right? What happens in that instance? Because surely they are signed with a South African label, or maybe not, I'm not sure. How does that work? Because if now a Drake wants to feature me and the only one I know is Ambitious Record. Ambitious Record says, you belong to us. Then what?
So usually with recording deals, they tend to be exclusive because the label needs to protect their investment as well.
Okay.
You can't be recording with everyone if you have an exclusive deal with them.
But it's
so,
Drake.
So what? Even if it's Drake, trust me, they're happy. They're happy
Yeah.
that Drake is there, but Drake needs to come through them and clear your
okay.
performance in Drake's performance, in Drake's recording. So they come there and say, Coco, we know that you take care of Gauhelo as the artist. May we borrow her to be on our record? You say, yeah, sure. Let's get into an agreement so that I can clear it. And then you, by virtue of you having Gauhelo participate in your recording, you're going to pay me as the label and I'll pay Gauhelo.
Yeah, this this I get paid thing.
But it's also
yeah.
but the information that we're getting is also insightful and it's going to help a lot of artists out there. So like, I feel like they should give us an ear and watch this episode so that they can learn. I think mainly to also protect their mental well-being, because then
Yes.
eventually it affects them, whereby their mental health gets impacted one way or the other.
100%.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to find out, going back to now the legal print, right? What are some of the key clauses that one should look out for? Because we have a lot of people that now want to become rappers and singers,
Yeah.
actors. It doesn't really matter, right? They want to
Yeah.
be artists. We have people that
Yeah.
want to be artists. What are some of the key clauses that they should be aware of during negotiations? And also, what do negotiations look like?
Yeah. So it depends what type of deal we're talking about. I think we should talk about distribution deals because
Okay.
they are the most commonplace now.
Sure.
Where a kid from Ekasi can contact some of these distributors are online. About DistroKid, I don't know if you guys have heard of DistroKid. It's an online platform. They don't even have offices in South Africa.
Aibo.
Is it?
Yeah.
International.
Yeah, yeah. Most of them are not. We do have obviously our distributors, but a lot of some of them are just sit online, and they're able to distribute and whatnot. So it's very easy. One of the first deals you will have to enter into, apart from your deal with your manager, if you have one, is the distribution deal, because
Okay.
otherwise your music is not going to get out there. So as I said, with distribution deals now, a lot of them are starting to mimic labels and publishers.
Sure.
It's just an expansion type of thing. So, first thing you would have to look at is the ownership thing.
Okay.
Most of the time, they won't want to own your masters, but make sure that if someone is gonna own your master, they must be moving heaven and earth for you, or they must be giving you an advance that is going to change your life in such a way that because some of these things, it just depends on what are you doing for me to accept this. Look at the term, look how long that term is, and look if there's a rollover on that term.
Okay.
If the advance or whatever monies are not recouped. Watch out for how much money that you're taking. Check if it's money that you are able to recoup. Once I start taking, if it were me, if I was an artist, once I start taking anything over 500,000, I'm going to start panicking,
Yeah.
because I'm wondering if I'll be able to pay this money back or not.
But
So
you're exercising faith. You're exercising faith. You're thinking, I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to be good. So I'm taking the 1 mil.
Positive affirmation.
Positive affirmation.
But
Yeah.
taking a loan is it not like going to a loan shark, but in the setting.
How is it advertised?
But I always have this thing. I always say, take an advance of sort if you can, because now it incentivizes them to do the work and recoup the money.
Yes. Because now they need to
Yeah.
be paid back one way or another.
Exactly.
There we go.
So if you need help with maybe buying, just don't go and buy jewelry and stupid things with your advance. Just invest back in your career and put a cap on what you can get.
But how are people going to know I've made it if I'm not driving
Yeah,
a
but as an
Maybach? Come on,
artist, I wanna look
come now.
glamorous. I wanna look, the part. I wanna look the part. I wanna put the most expensive.
Yeah.
People must see my drip.
Ish.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
it might affect my mental health at some point, but
Yeah.
if I don't look it,
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah. And check for publishing provisions. As I said, it's always good to unbundle these things, have different
Yeah.
people doing so check if your distributor is not taking a piece of your publishing as well.
Sure.
Check for such things. Check for how often you get paid.
What does that look like?
So the music industry used to have a biannual
As in, I get paid twice a year.
but now things have changed. It started being, it just depends on the distributor. It's per quarter, sometimes it's per month, just depends on which distributor. And check whether there are audit provisions.
Sure.
To check for discrepancies. That's a huge one. Because sometimes you may not agree with the money that you have, but you don't have, there's nothing in the agreement telling you that you can audit. And audits have revealed sometimes that money is owed,
Sure.
So make sure that you have an audit provision in the agreement, make sure that your trademarks and your image and likeness is yours, and they are only using it for the purpose of the contract, meaning getting you out there.
Okay.
But they don't own it outright, and you can use your image and likeness whenever and however you want. They are only using it for the purpose of that agreement. So tomorrow they can't be using your face on a brand because you have a distribution agreement with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the type of things.
So I actually wanted to go back to the intellectual property part, right? What happens on social media a lot is someone will actually come up with a sound, right? So they come up with a sound, and then other creators use that sound without acknowledging them, although it's their intellectual property, right? And then they get brand deals and money from that. But the actual, I know a popular case is the one of Veronica. I'm not sure if you guys know her. She talks about office politics in a very like satire-wrist way, right? And she actually came up and said a lot of other creators are actually getting brand deals and money from her sound, and she's not getting any of that. Even like cartoonists' pages are actually using her sound, right? And although it's her intellectual property, I think she said something like she is now like serving them or something of that sort, right? So what are the laws that govern that? Is that now copyrighted if it's not on paper?
Sometimes these things are not even IP related, but there's something that is called personality rights. You know?
What?
Yeah, it's basically the right to your
many
person.
rights.
You know,
So hold on, wait, wait.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
We have it's one of the most prominent cases. Ubasitsana Kumalo.
Yes.
She went into a shop, right? And she went to go buy a bike. They sell bicycles. And the guys were like, "Hey, Basitsana, it's good to see you," and whatnot. They asked for photos. She took photos. Now the owner took that photo and displayed it around the shop, making it seem as if she's endorsing the products and whatnot.
But she bought a bicycle in the shop, and we asked her for a photo, and she
And
took
she
one.
agreed.
She agreed.
She agreed. Why?
Hi, Bo.
She agreed, and that's the argument they made in the papers. Yeah, and she argued, and the court agreed with her that I agreed to take a picture. I didn't agree for you to take my image and likeness and
Likeness
attach
and
it.
people like her.
No. My your likeness is how I seem, how I
Sure,
appear, my
okay,
appearance.
okay.
Likeness
Sure,
means
okay,
appearance.
okay,
Yes.
Put it in
okay.
public.
Yes. So you took that and you attached it to your product. I didn't agree to that, you know. And as such, you have violated my personality rights, you know. And she was successful, you know. It's one of
Wow.
the few cases, if not the only one, the personality rights case that we have. Oh, it's one of the most prominent ones. Yeah.
So,
That is crazy.
so you're mentioning personality rights. Do I have my emotional rights?
Like bullying online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You do. You know, there's certain acts that can but now we are going into the realm of harassment. You know, and so forth.
But is it not
Yeah.
entertainment law because it's entertainment?
No, so there's the protection of harassment, protection from harassment act. It deals with
Okay.
things like that. That if you say or do things that could cause physical or emotional harm to people, they can get a protection order against you in terms of that act. So it's a
Is
different
emotional
piece.
harm not subjective though? What I see as emotional harm might be very different to what you see as emotional.
That's
I
a-
could be thinking I'm making a joke
That's
and sensitive. So what must happen?
That's why it's an evidentiary question. A magistrate is going to have to see that and establish on the given facts
Sure.
whether a case was properly made of harassment.
Sure.
Yeah,
Not all of us have a good sense of humor. I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
And before we wrap up, I actually wanted us to talk about the copyright contracts that are available for a human being, right? It's not necessarily people just entertainment, because there's other things that could have a copyright on them for the general public, right? And are there any contracts for intellectual property?
Yes. As I said, it's intellectual property is a broad term, so it depends on what you're doing. Music aside, if you're selling a product, you want the exclusive rights
Sure.
over that name. So make sure that you register that name as a trademark and stop other parties from using it. If you have certain manuals that appear a certain way, we don't have a copyright registry in South Africa, believe it or not. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a trademark registry, we have a patent registry, but we don't have a copyright registry.
reason why?
There's an exception though with cinematograph films, but it doesn't mean that the copyright doesn't exist. The copyright exists at the point where you create it. Yeah, and as long as it's original and you've created it, it immediately a copyright subsists in that work. So you can put that little C on the work to educate others that you
Okay.
are claiming exclusivity over this work and they can't use it. You'll usually see that C in certain works.
Is it also the TM? Because I also see others
TM
with
is for
TM.
trademarks. That's when you have an
Oh.
unregistered trademark. So by the way, you don't have to register a trademark, but now protecting it becomes so much harder. Why? Now you have to convince a court that you have exclusive rights over this name in that the general public associate that name with you. But if I have a certificate, I don't have to prove anything.
But if I have a
just have to
TM?
adduce that certificate. And when I have a certificate, I can put the R. You're allowed. By the way, it's an offense using an R when you don't have a registered trademark. TM is for when it's unregistered.
Okay.
Yeah. You can only use an R when you have the certificate. And as I said, a certificate is easy. I just have to adduce it to say, hey, I have a certificate. When you don't have it, it becomes so much harder because now you have to pay lawyers to go stand in front of a judge and say, Judge, because of such and such and such, people associate this mug with Gauhel.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always tell people to invest in those initial costs because getting you out of a problem is
So much
is
harder.
very hard.
Then preventing one.
Yeah. So make your initial investment in protecting these works and so forth, so that you don't have to get into issues where there's litigation and court action, because litigation is very expensive.
In the instance of, I'm not sure if we were all aware of the Please Call Me case that
Oh,
went
the
on,
Vodacom
right?
case.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
guy was like, no, this is
Yeah.
my intellectual property, so you
Yeah.
guys need to pay me because you guys
Yeah.
made a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? And he won the case.
Did he?
No, he did.
He
He did.
did
He
win.
did. But it took years. It took
Yeah.
years. Who's liable for those costs?
If he wins,
Because no, he won.
Okay,
he,
but
he
I don't
took-
think it's finalized though.
I think
it's
is it not? I
now
think
they're
it
just
is.
having an issue about
Yeah.
how much must be-
payment,
must
but
be-
he won the
oh,
case.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who, because he's the one that took them to court, who's liable for the? Because maybe
question.
someone took my intellectual property and I'm
Yeah.
waiting for this too, so I can.
That's a great question. Initially, you will pay your lawyers for the costs, but you can ask for what they call is a cost order, right?
Okay.
To say that if I'm successful, can this court ask that this party pays for my legal costs?
Sure.
Yeah, and you'll often hear in judgments. You'll pay attention now that you've spoken to me. They'll say Uban Bani won with costs. They found in your favor. They found in my favor with costs.
So meaning all the costs are now.
There's
The
a certain
defendant.
scale that the costs can be computed. We won't get into that.
Okay.
But yeah.
And if you lose, can I then make you pay for my costs? Because you dragged me to court, Mas.
It's for the costs are for the party that loses.
Oh,
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah. If you lose, I can ask the court that has found in my favor
Yeah.
for you to pay my costs.
Sure.
Yeah.
And my last question is, there's a situation that happened on Twitter, right? And it caused an uproar where a particular artist, smaller artist, so I think we can name names, right? So what's his name? The guy with the six pack. What's his name? His name starts with
As for
the
six pack.
Capello. What's his name? That's the only thing I know about it. Who is he? No, not Gabs the small. Who's the other one? Prince KB. There we go. So Prince KB released a song this year. And then someone came up and said, "Listen, I sent you that song. right? And he had emails and he had all these things. He had proof, right? And he said, it sounds similar. What must I do? And nothing happened. He literally said, okay, sharp. And then what?
I remember that matter. And I don't pretend to, I don't speak for any of the parties, but for what they have put, in public. When you send someone work, right? That's why you'll find a lot of people, they don't take unsolicited work, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So when you send someone work, unless that person,
Asked you for the work.
acknowledged, how do you know that they even received it? It's a risk on you if you send people unsolicited work. Prince KB never spoke to that guy once in what was available online. He never acknowledged
Fair.
any of those emails. So this guy can't come and say that he used my song and whatnot. If people can create can create their own work and so forth.
So he's
And-
protected, basically.
but on top of that, that's just one part of the. If he had really copied his song, that is out, and that guy's song. That's another thing. It wasn't out. So how do you know that I even took from your song? It wasn't released yet.
Timelines.
You sent me an email, but I haven't responded to. I don't have an agreement with you in respect of that song. So
Sure.
it's a risk on you to
Yeah.
do that. But on top of that, there's even an argument on whether he actually took the song because from what I saw online, Lady Zamar had a similar melody. There's a
Yeah,
song, and
okay.
and she had released it about 5 years prior. And that's another thing. Not everything in music is subject to copyright. There's certain building blocks and certain chords and certain directions in music that it's so common that it cannot be copyrighted. There's a very common drum in hip hop. You can't copyright that, because it's so
Okay.
common.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah, it's
no one
everywhere.
can claim exclusivity over that.
It's what make hip hop. I mean, like that's
Exactly,
the rhythm
it's
that
the
they
building
use.
blocks. That's why a lot of people in the copyright space disagreed with that judgment against Robin Thicke and Pharrell for Blurred Lines.
What happened with that situation?
Marvin Gaye's family, the estate of Marvin Gaye sued Robin Thicke to say, hey, you're using, this song sounds like, our dad's song. And when you put the songs together, people were saying that, and I agree with this notion that it's not that he took the song, he just took the style, of that era, the 70s,
Okay.
the feeling.
Okay.
And you can't copyright such things,
Is that not the same as sampling, though? Or is that a totally
Sampling is
different
a totally different game when you are actually taking the chords.
thing? And asking for permission.
You should ask for permission,
Okay,
but some
okay.
people don't do that. Let's talk about sampling for a while.
Yeah, because I know a lot of our favorite artists a lot, and
Yeah.
it's very popular
Yeah,
lately.
yeah.
Because I think also if I hear a song that sounds like a
Yeah.
old school R&B, what, I'll be like, let me
Yeah.
listen to it, right?
Yeah.
And we end up listening to it, and a lot of them actually start sampling.
Yeah. So there's two things in respect of, we're going to go back to those two copyrights again, right? So there's sampling and then there's making an interpolation. Sampling is when you're actually taking the actual recording
Okay.
and putting it into a new recording. You have sampled it. Now you've used the two copyrights. You've used the sound recording and you've used the composition.
Sure.
But what some people do, they will re-record the song. Same chords, same lyrics, everything, but it's a new recording. Now you have your own recording,
But with the same chords. and-
Yes. So what you have done, you have removed yourself from a situation where you have to ask the owner of the sound recording for permission, which is okay because you use the new recording. But the composition still lives on that song. You still have to speak to the writers. So a lot of mistake that is done, especially by people in hip hop, they think that if they replay the song, they've cleared the sample, they
Yes.
don't have to ask for permission. No, you've just said that, no, I don't. Oh, the only thing that you've done, you've removed the label or the master owner out of the equation, but you still need to speak to the composers or their publisher. You still need to
Sure.
speak to them. So when you're using someone's song, you always have to ask for permission. That's a sample. Those are the two types of sampling: when you're actually using the recording, or when you're re-recording it but you're using the composition.
Sure, no, we have learned a
Yeah.
lot today.
Yeah.
My question now that's in my head, after everything we've spoken about, is with all the disputes that happen or the breach of contracts that happen, right, in the entertainment industry, what are record labels doing to mitigate that for their artists? Because sometimes I'm young, I'm naive, I don't even know what a contract is, and now I'm broke because I'm not getting any money from the 18-20%. It really, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, and now my mental health is really on the floor. So what? Because surely they should be doing something because it's been happening so like a lot lately.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I think I want to move the spotlight away from the collecting societies. From the record labels to the collecting societies.
Sure.
The likes of your Samros and your Sampras, they have a lot of programs geared towards that type of thing. I think Samro had a mental health program they were running. Possibly Sampra as well. So you can check those. It's not necessarily... Remember, the labels are companies.
They're companies. They should be having an EAP of some sort.
No, but I'm just saying mostly they're there to make a profit. It's... I haven't heard of them having, those type of wellness things. And maybe they should.
Are they not mandated
actually.
though by the law to make sure that the employees' wellness?
So artists are not employees. That's the thing.
Wait, hold on.
There's a
They are
difference.
contractors, right?
There's a difference between an independent contractor and an employee.
But I belong to your label.
But we have a contract. You're not
I
my...
have a contract with my employer.
Yeah, but it's a different contract where you are now you're using all their... we're getting into labor law space.
No, I mean, might as well because,
But it's fine. No, I'll explain it. You're using all their resources and you're sitting there all day.
As per job description.
As per the job description and to carry out their objective. Whereas as an artist, you are a lot of the time using your own skill and, well, let me not skill and labor because an employee uses their own skill as well. A lot of the time you're using your own equipment, whatever, you're coming there to record and the product is being sold. You don't have to be there on a daily basis.
But why can't I work with other people without your permission?
Because I have an exclusivity restriction there. Because if you start working with other people and I have invested in your records, I may have a problem with that because now, I'll give you an example. Now you go and record something while maybe I release something of yours today. And then you go and record with someone else, and those things they both sit on the streaming platforms, and you have now prevented the audience from fully enjoying the product that I have put out, because you've also put out another product in competition with that. That's what Taylor Swift is currently doing right now. With, I don't know if you heard about that. So basically, if you re-record a song, you are now the new master owner in that recording. You know that. So labels will have a recording restriction to stop you from re-recording it, because now if you re-record it, you're going to confuse the market, and your recordings will compete with theirs. So they have this little thing in their agreements called re-recording restriction.
What about renditions?
We'll get to that. So it's almost like a rendition
Yeah.
but of your own song. So if
Sure.
So if you re-record that song, you now become the new master owner. Obviously, they can't have that. So they have that
Because then the money
restriction.
goes to you.
Yes, but then it runs out. That it's only for a limited period. Most restrictions will probably say like after 7 years after the deal ends, then only you can re-record the songs. So what Taylor did, she waited for that re-restriction period to lapse, and she re-recorded all her albums that she did.
Who's
Yeah.
Taylor Swift?
Taylor-
I Kissed a Girl.
I think that's Katy Perry.
I Kissed a Girl.
I Kissed the Girl is Katy Perry, but it's one of these
Oh.
white girls.
I
that-
don't know, guys.
yeah.
I'm asking. I'm just trying to catch up. Sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
I am struggling.
Are you shocked that he doesn't
I
know?
am struggling. There's no way a human being on this planet, born in the 1990s, remember we said you gonna get to the wellness champions, born in the 1990s,
Doesn't know who Taylor
who doesn't know Taylor Swift? There is
She's-
absolutely no
She's
way.
basically the biggest artist in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Taylor.
currently.
Hypo. Hypo wellness champ.
But this is a black man who is in his 30s. Why should he know Taylor Swift?
Because he's in his 30s. Exactly that.
That-
But anyway,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift did that, and now her re-records are selling millions.
Sure.
You know, and are sitting, but she has now distinguished them to say Taylor's versions, so that her audience can differentiate which one's which.
But the first one's not her version, because it's still her.
I know, but it's just a way to let her fans know that,
That this is the one that
buy
you
this
want.
one. You can leave this one and buy this one. It's a lot of artists are
a
doing that.
loophole.
They're going. It is a loophole, but the label's aware of it. That's why they have the restriction.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But since Taylor's success, I'm hearing that the labels are extending the restriction.
I would extend.
Yeah, because
I would extend. I mean, 7 years is not a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we still listen to
Yeah.
Umambranda Fasi even now.
and you asked about renditions, cover versions.
Yes, cover version.
Did you know that you don't have to ask for permission to do a cover?
So many covers are better than the actual song.
You don't have to ask for permission. You only have to pay a small mechanical license. But it's called a compulsory license.
Can I make it an album? Can I make it
the
renditions an
composer,
album?
the composer is obliged to grant you that license. When now you just have to pay the mechanical.
Word for word.
That's the
It's a
thing.
song, like
That's the thing. If it's a cover, you have to sing it the way it is. Once you start doing other things, it's an adaptation. It doesn't fit within the cover version.
It's not a rendition anymore.
Yeah. So, and if I do a rendition of your song, because now I've made a new recording of that song, I own the master to that version. But you
To the cover.
to the cover. But you as the songwriter will always own the copyright, even in my version, because you wrote the song. I'll give you an example. Dolly Parton wrote "I Will Always Love You" for Whitney Houston, right?
Yes.
Dolly Parton has her version. Yeah. Did I say Dolly wrote for Whitney? No.
Yes. Whitney wrote for Dolly.
No. Dolly had her version, and then
Yes.
Whitney just did a cover.
I didn't even know
Right.
Dolly's version.
Yeah, because Whitney's version was so big, right? So what happened is that when Whitney recorded her version, Whitney and her label, which is I think it's Arista, yeah, Arista own the new master to the new recording that they've made of Dolly's version. But Dolly, as the songwriter, owns the copyright in the composition for even Whitney's version.
So she's making coin.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
Bo.
Yeah.
So what?
People tend to focus a lot on the master, but we forget that songwriters, you can never
Make money.
You can never get a songwriter out because
It's
they
the
wrote the
song,
song.
yeah.
But you can get the label out if you re-record.
And the artist.
And the artist out.
If they're not
you
the
re-record
songwriter.
it. Yeah.
So you can re-record to make your own stuff
Yes.
Word for word.
after the contract has lapsed, or
Oh, you mean your own works? You can, but as long as you are not in breach of that restriction. In the,
The 7 years.
contract.
so, but
Yeah.
are they able to do that, like in the contract, whereby they restrict you from
Yes.
re-recording?
Yes.
Sure.
Otherwise, you are competing with them. You know, you're competing with, and that's why the Taylor thing was so big. She waited and then re-recorded all her albums, and the streaming numbers are crazy right now. There are a lot of people that you know that song Mario, Let Me Love You. It was written by Neo. So Mario never made any money from a composer perspective. However, he re-recorded it now. He has a new version, and now he's getting the streaming money with a full hand because he doesn't have a label.
Sure,
on
connected
that.
to it.
Yeah, the label he's probably unrecouped and he's never earned from that one.
So he's fine.
But what do you mean he's fine?
No, I mean like he's not contractually bound.
For him for that song to be there, it means he might have waited out the restriction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds almost exactly like
The
know
first one.
that's the point. You want to make it sound so close.
Because people love it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's now one of the biggest songs to
Exactly.
ever be. So I just wanted to ask, what about South Africa's Got Talent, Idols, where people obviously sing renditions by just being on the show?
Yeah.
I stream. Sometimes I really like the way. So I remember Loyiso sang a song by by Sam Smith, right? And I fell in love with it. And that's the only one I recognize now. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Sam Smith is great, but that one.
Yeah, he does a lot of covers.
Yes, he does a lot of covers. So if it's
Loyiso,
like,
that Loyiso,
yes,
yeah,
Loyiso.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if it's an actual show, right, and people start streaming songs from that show by the contestants, who does the song belong to?
So if you're saying people start to, are you saying in an instance where the contestants now record their own covers of
I mean, by them actually
singing on the show?
participating, it's a cover,
Okay,
right?
so the different collecting societies, the channels will be licensed anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So the collecting societies are always there collecting on behalf of, you know, the rights holders, in this instance, composers.
And the song belongs to idols, not me.
No, the song doesn't belong to idols. The song belongs to, oh, you mean now if I as an artist singing it on
Yes,
idols,
yes.
it's not going to belong to anyone. I just sang it on their platform. And
But it's making money on Spotify.
Yeah, but they upload.
So who's
Idols
getting the money?
Upload that stuff.
oh, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Idols will
Or
own
YouTube, or, you know?
Yeah. Idols will own, obviously, the video content of their show.
Sure.
But the rights holders in the songs will always, through the collecting societies, be represented, and they will always collect for, you know, the usage of that music.
Including the contestant
What do you mean
who's
including?
actually singing that song.
No, the contestant doesn't have to pay the artist.
No, but do they get paid?
No.
How? But it's my voice
You're,
and my looks.
Yeah, I know, but you've agreed to participate in the
Sure.
on the show. It's
Is
a
there,
TV show.
Is there something that binds me contractually?
Yes, and by the way, there's something with those actually. These singing competitions. What often happens is that when you sign them to participate, artists don't realize that the singing competitions are signing you to a record deal automatically.
By winning.
Top 10. They
Ah.
yeah. So basically there's what you call an option, right? The label attached to, so they usually work with labels, these singing competitions.
Okay.
The label attached to the show can decide whether they want to exercise that option.
Decide.
Unilaterally, because you signed, you've given them that option. They can decide to exercise it unilaterally without you. So just a big warning to contestants that take part in these shows. You are not just signing a form to participate. You've actually signed a recording deal. Yeah. That you haven't negotiated it. And it's subject to them exercising the unilateral option.
For a couple of years.
For a couple of years. It might be a 3-album deal, or and there's merchandise in there as well. There's
So they can put my face on a top without my consent.
because you have now agreed.
Are you able to prevent that from happening?
Yeah, don't sign.
Don't
sign.
participate.
Don't
But
sign.
are they able to give you that chance whereby you sign, but then I mean you don't
But
don't
it's up
sign,
to
but then
them.
you continue.
I've had to negotiate an artist out of that successfully, which I did.
Is it?
But it was a negotiation. That artist, when they signed, they gave those people a unilateral option to proceed.
But that doesn't like maybe limit now the chances of you having to.
It does, because now no one else can
You
sign
are bound
and
by that
these
person.
guys must give you a release for you to go work with other people if you want. They must say that, you know what, we're not gonna, push this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know because
No. But I think our wellness champ has a question for us.
yeah. So like I have like 3 questions then from the viewers, right?
Okay.
So the first one goes like since there's like AI, can you claim like copyrights to someone creating an AI voice of your voice, and can you claim copyrights or take legal actions?
Remember, we spoke about personality rights. A lot of these AI things infringe on one's personality rights, because now you've created a whole new song which doesn't infringe on anyone's written works or anything, but it's Drake's voice on there. It sounds exactly like Drake.
Is that beef? Did it originate from the
No,
AI?
no, it didn't. It didn't. But yeah, people can possibly approach it that way to say, hey, you've used now, my personality rights to create this new song. But there's also another argument. These
How do we know it's Drake? How do we know
sounds-
that?
it's a factual question.
But there's people that have similar voices. I could say, no, my brother sounds like Drake, so
That's-
now it's my brother.
That's why everything is a factual question. It depends on the facts. The evidence will reveal what's what, and the court will decide if they are convinced by what's presented.
Sure.
But another argument on that AI thing, right? Remember, the AI, for it to come to life, it needs to be trained on existing works. It doesn't use existing works, but it needs to be trained on it. So rights holders are saying, wait a minute, even if this thing generates a new work, the fact that you're using my sound recordings to train it, you need to pay me a license here.
That's fair.
You know, so the labels are starting to license AI companies. That if you're going to use the Weekend song, even we don't care what song you're creating, as long as it's not using our lyrics. But if you're going to use the Weekend's voice on our records, you need to pay us.
What about intellectual property? Like, say I'm using AI for my assignment. Because it's coming from existing work, meaning journals.
Yeah, look,
And
your-
say now
your
I
lecturers
are
write
really
my
nice,
own journal.
like-
Say I write my own journal
Yeah.
from AI, which I really think is possible. But now I don't credit anyone because it's new work. But obviously from existing
yeah,
work.
yeah. It depends. As long as your lecturers or if it's a school assignment, don't consider that to be
They do.
plagiarism and so.
They
Are they
actually
able
have
to
a
pick it
they
up?
have a clause. No. Now every assignment, because now I'm doing my postgrad,
Yeah.
says please do not use AI. Every assignment.
And
And
now
now
they
you
have
have to
stopped-
put it in, turn it in, but now they've upgraded it.
Yeah.
It picks up AI
Yeah,
like fireflies. It's
Sure.
crazy.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I also have like another one, right? Now that there's like a lot of artists, that like a lot of artists are able to make to market themselves easier via TikTok and other platforms very easily. How's that going to impact the industry with labels and middlemen? Will it become harder or easier?
Harder for who? For the labels.
Yeah.
And the distributors
yeah,
and the publishers.
So what? You've certainly made the label's job easier in that now they don't have to market you. You've marketed
They
yourself.
actually saved, no?
Yeah.
Saved money for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
You've done all the
point.
work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that's why the deals are starting to look more friendlier than they used to be, because some of the stuff you've now done on your own.
Fair.
So now let's talk about you licensing the works to us.
Yeah.
Let's hold on to it for a few years and share the revenue.
what happens, yeah.
We can
And
even
then-
have joint venture agreements where my company and your company are taking their joint resources, putting it towards a product, and we share the money.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. And then I have like one last one. How do upcoming business artists or creators or even business owners protect themselves, especially on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, from being sued and stuff? Because like nowadays, you never know when can you trend and get like a lot of attention from that.
So being sued from using other people's work, or how would the suing come?
Sued from
Alright.
just creating content.
Oh, okay.
That
And
could
making money
possibly-
from
yeah,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just make sure that when you make content, as long as you're on a licensed platform, you're fine.
Okay.
Right? Don't use. Influencers are in trouble of this. Don't use the music to sell products. Even if she said, "I'm an influencer, I'm a brand myself," but you won't get into trouble if there's no other brand,
Sure.
that's showing there.
By no other brand, you mean bigger brands.
No other
More
brand other than
acclaimed
yourself.
brand. Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As soon as you start getting that makeup brand on there and they've paid you, the rights holders want to.
What if it's my
participate.
makeup brand?
It's still a brand.
Ah.
Yeah. It's still a brand.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so much people must learn.
Yeah, because
I feel like-
because people, what I'm seeing is that users seem to recognize that, hey, if I go on TV, I have to get permission
Yeah.
from the rights holders to use this product with music. I know they know that they have to, but when it comes to social media, a lot of them are taking chances. But isn't social media the new TV?
It is.
You know?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you still have to get permission from the relevant rights holders if you're gonna put that song in your story, in your Instagram stories, selling things. And that's the problem Master KG had with Jerusalem. It's like, I'm starting to see your logos in my music. Let's talk. Yeah.
And you're right to do
Yeah.
that. Sure.
Yeah.
This was most certainly a jam-packed session. I think now I'm definitely knowledgeable on contracts and entertainment. But I think the biggest thing from here is, guys, read your contracts. Read your contracts, do your research, talk to your lawyers, okay? Rather spend money preventing than having to clean up. Bongani, thank you so much for joining
Thank you,
us.
guys.
This
This
was
was fun.
amazing.
Where do they find him?
Oh, wait a minute. Just there's a lot going on. So where can people find you or your law firm?
Yeah, so our website is www.mdaganelaw.co.za, and I'm very active on Facebook where I provide this content, for free. Available on all other platforms, but I get a lot of engagement on
Facebook.
More
on this.
Facebook,
Yeah, so check my personal profile as well, Bongani Mdakane, and search the firm Mdakane Attorneys, and yeah, let's talk more about this stuff.
Guys, so go to his social media pages, look him up, look for advice, and definitely connect with him. From myself, our wellness champ, and Mr. Mdakane, it's goodbye.
Bye bye.